Alright, today we're going to be taking a look at um, this thing here. This is a little buck converter I got off Amazon, for like 25 bucks. And, it's supposed to be, 20 amp, 50 volts. I'm going to test it to see if this thing's worth keeping. I've been running a test, as you can see, for, about 1 1/4 amp. This is a module. I put some, 10 gauge, battery clamps that I had lying around on it. And 10 gauge wire for the input. That's overkill. I just didn't have any, like 12 gauge would have been fine. Might even be able to get away with 14 gauge for it because they're just, exposed wires. But 12 gauge would have been appropriate. I'm powering it right now from this little bench supply, which at 50 volts it can only put out about 3 amps. But, you can see one of the advantages of this converter. It's only drawing 95 milliamps for my supply, yet, 1.2 amps output at 1.96 volts. So, now I've been running it at this level for a while. Okay. I'll get some thermal imaging of it here. So there's the board. Hold on, let me change the mode here. All right. So, you can see it's running like 95. It's kind of at an awkward angle. These cables are so stiff. That's what I hate about these some of these wires. But we're looking at about like 99 degrees. The max is 102 that it's seeing. Now, of course, the accuracy of this depends on, what the settings are on this for emissivity, but I just got it set to defaults. But still, this will give you a good idea. I could go get my other thermometer, my laser thermometer, if I wanted a more accurate reading. Let's see if I get that glare out of here. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's looking fairly cool with all things considered. I guess this camera does not do good close-ups. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too terribly hot. Let me briefly look it over without trying to do it on camera here. Yeah, it looks like 103. It's running fairly cool. It's even, cooler than it was running at when I had it at 1/4 amp, but at a higher voltage. So that's interesting. It does imply that, and in fact, that's to be expected. If you got a really low voltage, so the capacitor on the switching supply is really easy to charge up. So, and it's, we've got 50 volts to do it from. So, but at any rate, I got this set up. I should be able to put more current through it. This is a big ass 2 ohm resistor is what this is. Oftentimes I'll use this potentiometers here that I got rigged up, and what I like about these is they actually have the current limit rated on it. It's the 1.7 amps. At a 100 ohm resistor. This is what I'll often use, but it's, you can briefly take it up to 4 or 5 amps easily, but you wouldn't want to leave it there for a long time. But for something like this, I promise you this can do a lot of current. I don't know how much, but at any rate, in order to change this thing, you got these, if you just twist the knob, it increases the voltage by default. But, you can, you're seeing amps down there. Now you're seeing watts. Now you're seeing amp hours and hours runtime. And back to amps. But the easiest way to change the voltage is not like this. do this forever. So, you know, the easiest way to change it is to hit this button here, this UI button. And see, that gets you into this, so, you know, you can change it a lot more rapidly, but you can switch characters by pushing down on this knob. Okay, so I can get it up to like 5 volts here. And say I got the current limit set to 4.5 amps. So right now I'm drawing about 3.6 amps based on 5.6 volts, and that's the power source. You know, it's about half an amp, so that's not too bad. Now, so far I've only had this up briefly to 4.5 amps, so this is going to be, you know, a true test. I mean, you know, I don't know how it's going to work. Let's see, 4 amps. Because again, the current limiting on this works pretty good. So, that's okay. It's interesting. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. Why is that stopping at 4.47 amps? Yeah, I can't increase the voltage anymore. Oh, okay. Now the C. That's what I was expecting to happen, is for that CC to switch on. But it's kind of a bug. I mean, it's actually, okay, that's on. Okay. But so yeah, it's at 7 volts at 4.5 amps. So, you know, but yeah, the current loading works quite nicely. So, let's see, I'm kind of wondering. Okay, just testing my pause on that. Well, like I said, I might let this sit here for a few minutes at 4.5 amps, and so I'll just pause the video for briefly here, and I'll come back to it. We'll see how hot it is. All right, it's been a few minutes. Um, Now let's see. Yeah, it's still running it. Well, the voltage has dropped a little bit, but probably as this thing's heated up. That's, yeah, it's pretty damn hot. Saying I gotta get it off as wood. Really need some kind of mount for this, but I don't use this that much. It was mounted a big ass steel plate, but when I got it, I took it off because that thing weighed a ton. Okay, but let's see what the thermal imager is still running here and hadn't run out of batteries yet. So this system looks so blurry. I wonder if the lens is dirty. Hold on. Yeah, it's 112 there. Let's see, 106. I got to kind of tilt over since this is. It's hard for me to do this looking at the phone. Let me see if I can just. Okay, it's like 111, 106. I don't think the coil's very hot. 77. So, spets aren't too hot there. 14. Oh, thing just turned off on me finally. Forgot that I left it on. See if it burns me. That's pretty cool to the touch, really. It's not super hot, so don't feel a lot of heat emanating off of it. Not like this. That son of a bitch is hot. Okay, but yeah. So anyway, I guess I'll. I can go higher on this, but I don't know. I need something to set this on. Can't believe. I wish I had like a ceramic tile or something would be perfect. To catch my little wooden bench on fire here. Hold on. All right. Now I'll just try to use this old yard light transformer. Which, by the way, these things are really awesome if you can get a hold of them. If you, basically knock those shunts out of either, between these two coils and separate them electrically, they actually make a pretty decent little isolation transformer. It's good for a couple of amps, 2 or 3 amps or more. So, just something to know. And it is like a step-up transformer if you just knock the shunts out, period. And it'll like double the output. So, because that's what the yard light does. It'll bump up the voltage temporarily till the yard light starts to like 220 volts, but then as current starts to flow, that shunt will shunt magnetic force around away from the secondary of that coil, so it actually lowers the voltage, but down to no lower, apparently, like 110 or so. Because, the primary coil is still, active. So, but at any rate, and you get actually, it's kind of going to be limited by the impedance of the wire itself. But at any rate, yeah, that's a pretty good, mount for it. So I think we can try higher current here and see what happens. Push the current button. Push it again to go down to current. Push the knob. So I'll leave it at 10 amps. Well, I don't think that power supply, that probably can handle it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if my power supply will handle. I have to kind of watch it. It's at 0.8 amps right now. It can do 3 times the amount of current it's doing, so it should be okay. So let's up this voltage. Try to listen for any weird pops. I bought this other power supply off of, it's supposed to be a 5 amp, 48 volt supply. It was pretty hardily built, not as good as this, but yeah, that thing, even at 2 amps, started making a bunch of sizzling noises and stuff. And I looked at it with a thermal imager, and yeah, it was like the rectifier they had on there was super duper hot. So, yeah, that's not right. So, I mean, I could barely get it up to its rated current, and I wouldn't want to risk leaving it there anytime at all. The thing probably catch on fire. That's why I'm very cautious about these tests. Okay, we're at 1.2 amps so far. Volts. Yeah, I hear, based on user reviews on this thing, they said that this can't do like its full current at its full voltage, but so it's probably limited like this. This is actually like a 6 amp supply but you can only get 6 amps out of it at 25 volts. So then it starts changing its parameters after that. At 12 volts now. Now I could leave it at 12 volts and adjust the, well, I don't know if I can adjust the clips on that thing. Do it 2 amps right now, but I guess I can just keep going on voltage. It'll probably be a better test on this thing. We're approaching our limit though on the power supply. So I might have to back it off. Nine amps. I'm not even at 9 amps yet. We're approaching our limit on our power supply. Let's see. So the voltage is getting, you know, high enough where that's a bit of an issue. Like I said, I don't know how much that supply is going to like, you know, I guess its fan will kick on soon enough, but yeah, we're just about maxed out there. So if I want to go higher, you know, I'm going to need to you know, either, you know, move one of these to some of the fins, which will be hard because they're pretty big. You know, the fins do, you know, they don't move much. So it might be kind of hard positioning a big clip like this somewhere else on this thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the noise I was hearing. It's little fans on, so at least it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's pretty quiet, actually. I didn't even know it was on, so it's got a pretty quiet little fan. But yeah, that's as much as I can do at this voltage without moving a clip, because what I'd have to do is, you know, if I wanted to power this any further, you know, to like even 10 amps, I would have to lower the voltage and move the clips somehow. Again, that would be hard with these big ass clips. They won't grab onto that. That fan's getting louder. But still, it's a good test. I might leave it here a couple of minutes. And let me see if the cables are... cables are fine. Not too hot. But, yeah, that's... Thank God it's winter. Yeah, so anyway, well, that's 41 degrees out. I don't know if you can see that. It's fucking raining. I fucking hate rain. Anyway, yeah, let me come back to this in a few minutes. Okay, yeah, it's been about 15 minutes or so, and, you know, the fan on this thing's kicked on a time or two, but overall it's running pretty smooth. So let's see. Oh. Now let's see what the thermal imager says here. 109, 117. Let's see what it says on this thing. 250 degrees. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad from the looks of it. Yeah, for being on this long, running about nearly 10 amps, yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, 114, 115 degrees. Um, something here. Wanted to get this laser thermometer and check it with this. Let's see. 230 degrees is what it's saying. Let's see what it says here. 101. I don't know how accurate the positioning is on this, but like I said, you got to remember the emissivity settings mean a lot too. So it may be reading a higher temperature than it really is, but on the other hand, this may be it. Now, of course, I could break out one of my regular thermometers, but I'll probably end up shorting something out. So let's test the accuracy here. Well, my feet are 75 degrees cold. My legs are 83. So, I don't know.